the truth.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Episode 2 of Audio Theory. So this week, I think now that we've kind of reached the halfway point of the year, we wanted to get into basically the albums that disappointed and the albums that did not disappoint. I think it's really important, in particular this year, because I personally feel like I didn't have my musical craving satisfied. So this was a difficult one to think about, but my boy Danny here, I'm sure he has some insight into some good music that you guys should check out if you haven't already. And I can point you to some things that you probably should ignore as we finish off the year. So let's get started.
Yeah, man. It's Audio Theory episode 2. We're going to do some 2019 little flashback, I guess, and looking forward a little bit. Again, this is Danny Daybar's Open with my boy
Superfly.
I do Superfly.
Blair,
We're going to talk
Chemic.
about Chemic, man. We heard about.
I don't know which name to go with. Whichever one sticks.
I think Chemic might stick.
Word.
That's dope. I feel like I want to change your name on my phone right now to Chemic.
For sure.
But yeah, man, I figured, this is where, again, our love for festivals. I kind of feel like all these episodes, you'll see a nice transition because our love for festivals really came from our love from hip hop. So why not take a moment, like you said, halfway through the year, a little bit more to discuss, how this year is going. So when you say I guess your musical fulfillment hasn't really been met this year, like, is there any one point you can go to and just say, like, bro, this shit is not working for me right now? Is it?
Honestly, so
was it Nipsey dying and you're just like, fuck everybody?
That was like the cherry on top that just fucked everything up for me. But I think in general, just looking at the projects that were released, and to be fair, I didn't necessarily, I don't think anyone's listened to all those projects, but for me personally, I'd say like 90% of the artists just aren't people who I see contributing a whole lot to hip hop for the next several years. But
they were sustainable. The shit they're doing right now is not sustainable. It's going to be Tekashi here one day, gone tomorrow.
Yep, exactly. And there were a few though that surprisingly met my expectations. So one of those people is Rich the Kid, who I'll admit when I first like saw an interview.
That's surprising though, bro, because he's not really a lot of people's radar. No one's really talking about him like that.
Right. And I saw an interview of him on DJ Vlad. I think it was a couple years back. And I was just like, yo, this kid has like 4 brain cells. His music is probably trash. And I thought this was the era when like Famous Dex and all those dudes and Lil Uzi Vert, all of them popped off.
And they all look alike.
Yeah, and I was just like, why am I gonna waste my time trying to like
on another like skinny little fat like face tattoo?
Basically. And I don't know. There's a couple songs here and there that caught my eye. I think when he did that song with Kendrick, like that kind of gave him the stripes to earn a lot of people's respect.
Yeah, co-sign for someone that important.
Yep. And it's not like Kendrick, like he was popping to the point where Kendrick like felt a need to hop on that track.
He was no one.
I think there was a song with Khalid he had on one of his older tracks that I really liked. And ever since then, I checked for him, and this project was just super solid. For me, I'm a sucker for production, so like if the beat slaps, and the content doesn't necessarily have to be dope, but like it should be melodic enough for me to want to listen to it throughout. And, yeah. And it wasn't like too repetitive as far as like the production and.
So you would say Rich the Kid. What album was that again? Rich the Kid.
It was called "The World Is Yours Too."
Yeah, because I actually fucked with "The World Is Yours" one, like that first one. I fucked with it more after we saw him at Rolling Loud.
Yeah.
Yo, remember his fucking energy was like, bro, what the? I think what song he came out to? He came out to Plug Walk.
Yeah.
And that shit was like
I forgot
crazy.
About that
I was like,
too.
yo, this is amazing.
Well,
like,
that song
beat dropped
crazy.
And he fucking went in, and I was like, yo, this is all right, cool. So he was just surprised of 2019 because you just didn't expect him to follow up the first album so well.
Yep.
Okay, so damn, my surprise. That's a good way to start this conversation. Surprise of the year so far. Damn, bro, what's fucking just? Oh, dude, honestly, I'm gonna say the baby. Cause yo,
too.
Dude, when I saw that album cover and just like people talking about it, it's like Suge, like what is this shit, bro? It's just gonna be trash. Then I heard that Suge song and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
This is a banger, but it's probably just like a one-hit song. Then I actually downloaded the album and I was like, wow, my dude can spit. Like, and he's carrying songs. I don't know who does his production. Again, you're more an expert on that. But like, I don't think the production's that wild that it's like carrying him.
That's
like,
actually my only criticism of him is I feel like his beat catalog needs to be expanded. He has to work with like new people or something.
Well, I mean, again, he's up and coming from Charlotte. Shout out to Charlotte, Queen City.
Yeah.
But like, I think he's probably just gonna afford those kind of production artists, right? But like, yo, and then when he spit that first track of the Dreamville album with. Held his own with fucking J. Cole and like ended the song with him. I was like, yo, I'm gonna say my surprise artist of the year for sure.
Oh yeah, I don't even know how I forgot about him. The project itself, I have to go back and see what songs are on it, but like there was a period when I think it was like maybe 3 weeks before he blew up. I just started seeing his YouTube videos appear, and I would just listen to all his stuff, and I'm like. Compared to all the other artists coming out of the South, for whatever reason, his flows is just like it's perfect.
It's perfect, dude.
And it matches the beats he's on well. And to your point, he carries the beats, but it almost like elevates the overall sound. It like makes the simple beats work.
Facts. Exactly. I think he's as of right now. Again, after that, you pop, you'll start getting more DJs. I mean, more producers sending you shit. But dude, I would just say he's my biggest fucking like surprise of the year because I've never heard of one rapper coming out of Charlotte, and I'm fucking lived in Charlotte for 3 years, and then 2, just for him to fucking be holding his own #1 song in the country for multiple weeks on the fucking shit with Dreamville, carrying his own, like that's because Dreamville, like those all 3 or 4 of those guys just are elite rappers, right? Like maybe they don't make the hits, but like they're elite. So for you to hold your own with 16 bars is pretty impressive. All right, so that was our surprise moment of 2019. So we'll get. I think we both know what our disappointing moment is. So we'll save that for later at the end of this podcast. But what would you say is your most disappointing project of 2019 thus far? Male, female, group? Yeah. Trying to go through my iPhone right now and figure out what the fuck.
This one was tough because like I think a lot of them fell short in a lot of different ways. And one artist's trash is gold compared to another artist. So for instance, if like I think Father of Assad had a lot of criticism. I didn't particularly like it.
Trash.
Compared to, if you're going to compare it to some of these new school artists, clearly it's better, like just musically speaking, but for the standard, like if you have that much star power on your album, like this shit better be a classic. Like you can't invest like $50 million into an album and not have it be trash. Like the most replayable shit on the planet.
I think it's trash.
Yeah, garbage.
That's not my worst album. So you're going with that? You're going with Father Assad?
That and Logic's Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Bro, I saw this a long time ago, bro.
And it's hard for me to say it's the most disappointing because like I felt like it turned out to be what I expected.
Okay.
I think his motivation's just lost. Like he's already made it. Like how much more can you possibly talk about being positive and shit? I feel like I don't know him as an artist really. Like where he's trying to go with it. I just don't get it.
Like what's the next plan?
It's hard for me to connect to the music if it's not a cohesive thing where I understand where your mind's at and where you're trying to take it. It just seems like to put it in Joe Budden's words, rappity rap shit, like just rapping fast over dope beats and like
just to fucking do it.
Yeah, basically. So I think that was my biggest issue with that project. And then For my personal disappointment, somewhat at least, is Schoolboy Q's Crash Talk, because he's
really
hands down. He's one of my favorite artists. I can't call it trash, but it's not. There's not a whole lot of tracks on there that I can see myself replaying that often.
So, dude, I'm gonna say this next artist. My bad. I'm going through my phone right now. I don't mean to be disrespectful to the viewers, but I'm trying to figure out. Like, I don't want to just say something and other shit that should be acknowledged. Mm-hmm. But, dude, I'm gonna just with the expectation that came off this artist's previous project. Now, obviously, once I say his name, he shouldn't even be named with other people who are successful. But yeah, I'm gonna just go off what's going on right now, right? He was fucking popular. So Gunna, when him and Lil Baby came out with that joint mixtape, that shit had like the streets on absolute lock, right? Like you couldn't go anywhere without hearing Drip So Hard, right? Like that was everywhere,
right?
Bro, but little Gunna's album, I think it's damn, what is it? Hold on, okay, I want to make sure I'm getting this right.
I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't listen
to
it.
Drip or Drown 2. Trash in every way.
I didn't listen to it and I know it's trash.
Dude, Drip or Drown 2, literally, we were talking about the Baby's production. All these songs sound the fucking same. And like there's maybe one standout. I want to give him his just due because I definitely like bumped this at the gym. What's it called? Speed It Up. Speed It Up's a good song.
Oh yeah, that song is good. But that's like the only one that has any promotion,
other
right?
Tracks that sound the fucking same but are awful. Like so, I'm gonna go listen. Gunna's listening. When you listen to this, eventually it gets back to you. Like yo, all due respect, love your work, but this album wasn't it, man. I think he was riding the wave too hard of that successful tour with Travis Scott. That Lil Baby joint album was fucking fire. So that's my biggest disappointment of the year so far. All right, so we had biggest surprise, biggest disappointment. It is officially August 5th when we're recording this episode. So up until now, what is Chemic's favorite album of the year?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I probably have to say one of the ones, I don't know, I can't call it a surprise necessarily, but Lil Sky Shelby. That album.
That was your favorite album of the year?
One of them.
Bro, favorite.
I don't know if
number one album thus far.
Number one. Shit. I don't even know if any of them like deserve that title. I
mean, you can go with nothing, and we can revisit this.
Honestly, nothing. I don't think anything this year for me personally, unless we 21 Savage's album from the tail end of 2018, which was like December 21st or something. I forget the name. It was like I Was Who I Am. Like, I Am Who I Was.
That I'm better. Yeah.
That album, I still bump. And I thought it was like a very well-produced project. So if I have to give that title to something, I'll give it to 21.
I think that still counts as 2018 though. So I feel like we can't give it the nod. I'm gonna go with I'm a fucking little eccentric. You can tell from the back. But like I like artists who fucking take chances, and I'm gonna go, dude. For me, hands
don't tell
down,
me chance.
Fuck no, trash, trash. Damn, I should have used him.
Be your segue
I changed my vote. The worst album of the year, Chance, bro. Fuck out of here,
Garbage.
Like awful. And first of all, okay, well, I'm gonna take a little tangent, so let me just vent for like a minute. Yo, this is not your debut album, bro. If you win a Grammy for your last album, that was it. Like, you cannot come back and say fuck that. Like, what?
Right, garbage.
Like, build hype? Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, how is this your debut album? Your last album won you Best New Artist at the Grammys, and then Best Rap Album at the Grammys. Like, yo,
it's
this
sad,
is
though.
Not a fucking debut album. Like, I hate, and it was, first of all, whatever it is, it's awful. Like, this shit's not good.
Yeah.
Like, there's no fucking song slap. Like, it's not good. Like, it's not. So I take it back.
A couple of them kind of have good production. Like the Gucci Mane one, was all right. But like, I put him on a tier because like, if you are a Chance and like you're considered one of the top dogs in the industry, like you have 100%. To put out magic.
That's what I'm saying. So like, I was giving Gunner like too much critique because I mentioned like he's not that guy, but he was riding a wave.
Yep.
Chance is that guy. You fucking got Doritos commercials. Like, people fucking know you all over the world. Like, you can't come out with 23 tracks, 12 fucking skits about nothing.
For real.
So I take it back. Gunna, you get a pass for this year. Chance. What was it? The Big Day? Is that shit called?
Something like that.
I got it right here. Chance.
Clearly not the Big Day.
Chance, the Big Day. Chance the Rapper, the Big Day. Awful. Garbage. But I'm gonna go with my favorite rap album thus far, as of August 5th, 2019, is my man, Felicia the GOAT.
Dope. I thought you were gonna say Jaden. I was about to be disappointed.
No. I love that album, but he's not. That wasn't that. My man came through. Tyler the Creator, Igor, bro. Fuck. Great album.
He has a very that is eclectic. He has a very, I feel like, specific fan base. Like, he only appeals to a certain type of hip hop crowd.
Yo, but think about it.
Unmatched.
Because
you're
28, right? 28, 29.
29.
Okay, so think about it, dude. When we were growing up, man, like, the shit that people say about him is the shit that people were saying about Andre 3000 when he was in his prime. And, like, no one really appreciated him. Like, yo, why is he singing? Why is the production so weird? And then now, bro, people are fucking giving their right arm to get a fucking feature from Andre 3000. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he might be the modern day 3 Stacks. Like,
he could. I just don't want these artists to, like, I'm gonna coin a verb, but J Electronica themselves. Like, just hop in, do some dope shit, be like, come out of nowhere and then just disappear forever and, like, have people waiting on music.
Nah, but I feel like if you think about it, man, Tyler's been around for a minute, like, doing shit. You know what I mean? Like, if Flower Boy is only 2 years old and he came back.
That's true.
You know what I mean? He's always
I just
on
always
tour.
see him as being, like, behind the scenes doing his Camp Flogna stuff and God knows whatever other ventures he's into.
Yeah, I mean, dude, again, we're a podcast that talks about everything, dude. So I mean, he has that new thing he just dropped with Lacoste clothing, golf. Like, that's just dope. He has that show on Viceland that he's fucking testing out crazy shit. Like, I mean, I don't give these guys too much knock for doing so much. I mean, if you think about it, like, that's the Virgil. You know, we love those guys who DJ, make clothes, make things. So, like, but dude, we're just going by album. Like, until right now, that is the dopest album I fucking heard from front to back in a long time, bro. And especially this year, just this year alone, that shit was great. Man.
I gotta give it another listen.
Yeah, man. Like,
I have music ADD. Like, it's really hard for me to sit through, unless, like, I'm on a long drive or something. It's hard for me to sit through 10 songs straight, surprisingly, which isn't even that much time.
Yeah, dude. So I'm the opposite. Like, if something fucking, like, grabs me, I will listen to that shit till I hate it. Like, yo, I'm listening to that shit. Like,
I'm the same way though, but with the individual songs, so it's worse. Cause, like, at least in an album, if you put it on repeat, it's 15 different songs. Like, it's gonna take that much more time for you to get sick of it. But me, if I like one song, I'll play it 5,000 times for 3 days straight, and then never want to hear it again.
I feel you. All right, so we gave our takes there. So I want to ask you a question that, like, I'm thinking about this now. So first, who do you think is an artist that really dropped something this year that we're going to be talking about, say, years to come? And then, what's an album from the past that you listened to this year that has aged very well?
So artists that dropped this year that I think
is going to be here to last.
Okay, let's just say 2025, they'll still be dropping.
Exactly.
Shit.
You were just talking about how, like, a lot of artists come through and they're just trying to make money and just leave, right? So who's an artist that dropped this year that you're like, all right, it's not my favorite album, but this dude's going to be fucking relevant, or this girl, because we support female artists too, is going to be around in 6 years?
I mean, I think Schoolboy Q will definitely still be around. I don't think Top Dog, that crew, is going anywhere.
Okay.
The whole Black Hippie crew.
That's Kendrick's crew, right?
Yeah. Tyga, if he sticks to the formula, I could still, because I mean, is he part of Good Music?
Nah, dog.
Either way, he has the Kanye co-sign of some sort. So
some sort, bro.
And Lil Wayne, I feel like he's solidified as long as he doesn't do anything stupid.
I mean, I know you got love for him because he's a West Coast artist, bro. I mean, I'm not saying we're not bumping it here. Again, if people don't remember from the first podcast, I currently live in Miami from New York. Like, I mean, he has some fucking hits that slap. Like, don't get me wrong. I think he was the comeback artist of the year. But I don't know how many more times you can come back, to be honest.
I'm just thinking of because artists like YG, for instance, when he first dropped, I would have never had imagined that he would have gotten this big and been this mainstream as like just a gangster rapper. True. At that level. Because his music, it's not even like Snoop gangster rap where it's like weed smoking shit. Like he's like full-fledged blooding.
Yeah.
Like
facts. No pun intended.
100%. Yeah. That is not even.
So what artist that you're going with? Schoolboy Q's gonna be like super relevant.
Yeah, Schoolboy Q for sure. I know DJ Khaled will be in some way. There's
God,
no
I
way
hope not, bro. I hope
he's definitely gonna maintain his relevancy somehow.
Somehow, bro.
He's just too connected.
So then what? All right, so we stay on the same. I'm gonna go with someone. Then we'll go back to you to say an album that has lasted and like has aged very well, like a fucking great bottle of wine. Dude, I'm gonna go with a dude who this was actually his debut album, Chance the Fucking Rapper. I'm gonna go with YBN Cordae. His album, The Lost Boy, is a fucking classic.
Wait, like, you're saying he's gonna outlast all these dudes right now?
Facts. He's gonna be relevant in 5 years because my boy can fucking spit. He gets it. He's rapping, right? And so back to Joe Budden's my doppelganger. He's not just rappity rap. Like he is fucking spitting over quality. He has that Anderson .Paak cosign. So he has this eccentric things when he needs to be.
I feel like he's co-signed by like everyone secretly. Like low key, Dr. Dre.
Dude, I think there's a reason for that though, right? Because they see a fucking young kid who's not just fucking trying to get rich off this shit. Like he's actually like, bro, like I fucking like us. He's like obviously a much fucking more talented rapper than us. Like who just like us in the sense that fucking a person who just fucking loves, rap and is like, bro, I'm gonna fucking rap and I can be fucking relevant. Yo, that song fucking 1,000 words talking about his fucking his anxiety about fucking being relevant on social media. Like, bro, who can't relate to that shit? And then he does it in such a fucking catchy way that you can fucking bang that shit in a club. Like dude. I'm telling you, he's the one out of all those YBN dudes. He's the one that's going to be around in fucking 5-10 years.
Yeah, he's super talented.
I mean, the Talib Kweli of that group. Like,
did they grow up together? Like he and Namir and Almighty J? Because like they just seem on completely different wavelengths.
100%. I think they just have one for each, like almost. Because I mean, there's obviously subcategories of rap, and I feel like they just have one that perfectly fits into each one.
They're just because YBN Namir is like the gangster shit. Almighty J is like the club mumble rap shit, and then Cordae's like the backpacker J. Cole type shit.
Yeah, so how he's not signed officially to Dreamville is beyond me right now. Like
I know.
But
I feel like it's bound to happen.
He has their co-sign too, though, which is fucking amazing. So back to my questions. I answered, then I want to get your response. So again, I'm a fucking like I get obsessed with certain albums, so I keep listening to them over and over again, and so I've been trying to get away from that and like giving old shit like its due respect as well. So I've recently just listened to Life of Pablo front to back, and I'm telling you, that album has aged well. Like that shit's a classic. And I think at the time, people were like too obsessed with him being crazy and him going on these rants and like the Kardashians. But bro, you listen to that shit right now in 2019, that album is as relevant as it was then and probably going to be as relevant in like 5 years. That shit is fucking a classic.
What was the album
aged well.
What was the main track on that one again?
Waves,
and then what else? I feel like there's a couple more.
Father Stretch My Hand.
Yeah.
And then the song that he got fucking Designer on that sounded like Future. And everybody was like, yo, who the fuck's this guy?
Right. Now I remember that. Yeah, that album was pretty good. Yeah, at that time everyone hated Kanye, so it was like hard to even like peacefully listen to that shit.
Yo, but I'm telling you that you listen to that shit today, listen to the album right now, go check that out. Shameless plug, I'm a fucking huge Kanye West fan. Go fucking check out that album. That shit is fucking aged so well.
Word.
What about you, man? What album have you listened to recently?
Honestly, so I still don't. I Spotify makes it so easy to like handpick the 1 or 2 songs you absolutely love from each album. So for me, I don't really have complete body of projects that I listen to back and forth. But Damn by Kendrick.
Okay.
I still haven't gotten over that one. I have so many tracks from that I still bump, and it never feels outdated. I think Kendrick's really good at making timeless music. So he's an artist I foresee. Like, he's already solidified. Like, he doesn't have to do shit.
For sure. That album, dude, didn't that fucking album get like a Pulitzer Prize for fucking writing? Like,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Like, I'm 100%. Like, I got a fucking like writing award for the first time. Like, I think like a Nobel Peace Prize or some shit for writing. Like, that album's fucking gonna go down in history as one of the best albums ever made, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, and then just to fucking throw this out there before we change subject. But first of all, kudos to Drake, who in 2019 can drop an album, The Care Package, with a bunch of songs from 2009, 2009, and 2010, and be the #1 album in the country.
It's fucking ridiculous. That's like, there was a meme, well, not a meme, but academics posted Lil Durk, and it was like a screenshot of Lil Durk's album #2 and Drake #1. He's like, Lil Durk was like, I'm #1, Drake doesn't count.
It counts.
And it doesn't, because this shit is old music. I was so pissed when I think Spotify like promoted it. I'm like, oh shit, Drake just dropped an album. How did I not hear about this?
You just listened to on fucking LimeWire that gave your computer cancer.
Exactly. And it's not even the tracks that I personally like the most. Isn't it all the emo shit that was hot like throughout those years?
That's my shit, bro. I fuck with the emo shit.
I couldn't do it. I was like,
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was talking to all my boys when this shit dropped. I'm like, yo, Drake dropped this for me. He's like, bro, you're going through a breakup. You need this care package.
It's weird. It's not even. I expect this shit on like February 14th, not middle of December when people are still trying to be happy.
I honestly think like he was like, yo, fuck all this hot girl summer shit. I need to go home.
He wants people to cry.
Yourselves. Like, stop being a hot girl. Like, stop. But speaking about hot girls, I know you wanted to jump into conversation about not the idea, but like how do you feel about female rappers in 2019, bro? Like, how do you feel?
First off, there's just one song by, the female rapper Saweetie. Is that how you pronounce it? Saweetie. I think she's dating Quavo. I mean, that alone is a fucked up way to introduce her, because she's a rapper. She's not just Quavo's girl. But
she
dropped a song.
Somehow she has Amigos cosign. So
yeah, but she dropped a song with Hit Boy, Hit Boy produced song called No L's. The beat slaps. Her voice just fits perfectly with the song. So she's an artist I actually enjoy listening to. But I think the big issue people have with female rappers is the content. I think that's why guys tend to not feel comfortable blasting their music to begin with. What did he say? Something about them being prostitute rappers or some shit?
Yeah, JD was on something and he was like, yo, I don't know why we're giving all these girls credit because all they rap about is being like strippers and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's no denying talent as far as like writing and being able to flow, like Nicki, Cardi, who allegedly has writers or whatever. Either way, I think the top female artists definitely have flow and can out-rap a lot of dudes in the industry. But I think when it comes to content, a lot of the common trend obviously is rapping about stripping, fucking slurping cocks and shit. And that's not something you're going to want to blast when you're cruising down the street. And there's only so many female rappers, so it's not like there's a diverse pool to choose from, because like they'll say what dudes
the most we've had in a while though, right? Because you got the City Girls, you got Megan Thee Stallion, you got Nicki, always relevant, you got Cardi. So I mean, it's probably the most we've had at one time. So I mean,
but they all, of those like 10, they all rap about the same shit.
That's
and
what I'm saying.
they're saying dudes are hypocritical because dudes rap just about
also true,
fucking whoever and
Also
shooting whoever. But I feel like there's just so many male rappers that you have more of a pool of people to choose from. Like if you don't want to listen to that shit, you can go to the backpack rappers. Or
Facts.
If you don't want to listen to backpack rap, you can listen to the dudes who only drop club bangers. But with the top female rappers, it seems like they only get put on if they basically wear nothing and rap about the same shit. And the ones who don't do that, like, you know, Snow the Product, I think she's I believe she's Mexican. She's like actually a really good lyricist, but hasn't reached that level. And I feel like,
is it because she's not attractive?
I think objectively speaking, she is. Okay. But the thing is, I feel like people don't take that content seriously coming from a chick.
So let me ask you this, because there was an interview that Megan Thee Stallion did that she was saying that she can out-rap most of these guys out there, and she went at Lil Uzi Vert and Playboi Carti, who just really ad-lib a lot over their songs and aren't really saying much. So do you think there's any weight to that? I
think it's true, but it doesn't make other things untrue.
Sure,
like, you can have multiple truths. That's a good point. I get what she's saying, but at the same time, and if that's who she is, like, I don't want her to change up and like start rapping about Trump and shit just to do appease the public. But at the same time, I think there needs to be a balance. Like, how many times can we hear the same shit coming from that demographic, and then potentially have them complain about being objectified and stuff?
Yeah,
I just feel like there's a lot of hypocrisy when it comes to hip hop, especially.
Figure out, like, this goes against all the entire Me Too movement, ladies. Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is. I don't mind female rappers. I personally haven't really been banging Megan Thee Stallion. I know she's blowing up, so
you haven't been banging her?
Nah, because I had a girlfriend, but I haven't been listening to Megan Thee Stallion. That's on me though. I don't listen to the radio, so like I go out and just look for my artists and see what the fuck they're putting out, and then like I figure out like what's happening. But I need to listen to her album because I heard it is good, and I know when she goes on tour, people go crazy, so she has to be doing something right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, listen. I bumped the Cardi album like hard. Yeah. Like I really fucking play that shit super loud. Again, she's also a Dominican, so maybe we're fucking repping for her because of that. Yeah. But I think she can spit, and I mean, again, like, that's my thing with Kanye, and like, they say he doesn't write all his rhymes, but I mean, he's a part of the process, and when it comes out of his mouth, it sounds way better than it comes out with somebody else's mouth. So I don't really get too caught in that if these girls are writing their own rhymes or not.
Cardi does get a lot of unnecessary flack for that. I actually think her project, I mean, I can't say it was the best album of the year or the album of the year or anything, but
it was up there. I think
her project was very cohesive and like well put together, and it wasn't just all like stripper talk and shit that I had mentioned earlier.
Right,
like,
yeah. Her
there's a lot of like
about like coming up, issues
like
with her band,
Chance, and all the other stuff.
Yeah, dude. Like shout out to Cardi. That was a well done album. What else I want to fucking ask you about this year though before we fucking wrap this up? So I mean, how do you think in general, man? Like, how do you think this? Because you seem kind of disappointed on what the overall product has been as far as hip hop and rap albums coming out this year. So, so as of right now, how do you think this year's gonna end? And then how do you think it's stacking up compared to other years? Like, dude, last year was a great year in hip hop. A ton of classics were dropped last year. So, how do you compare everything?
I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I'm still pretty disappointed with the releases this year. Maybe it's just that a lot of the top artists haven't really dropped much. Or it could be that other years just had so much to pick from that you were bound to find something to stick to. But this year, I feel like if we don't get at least like one memorable album for myself within the next few months, the year's done. I mean, it is done regardless, but somebody's got to come out of the blue and just release some shit, even if it's like a mixtape or like an EP or something.
Yeah.
Just to save us, because last year was better, much better. Years before that were even better.
Okay.
I haven't seen. I mean, there hasn't really been much to speak about, even in terms of like mixtapes and whatnot, huh?
I mean, dude, this goes back to the point I was making about Chance, though, man. Like, what's a mixtape, bro? I feel like they just fucking call it a mixtape because if it flops, it's just my mixtape.
Right.
Like, the fuck out of here, bro. Like, you fucking, these are a mixtape for me. So again, goes back to like us growing up and loving hip hop. A mixtape is when you fucking put out a fucking CD with 10 tracks and you're fucking destroying other people's beats. And then you're saying, yo, I fucking out-rapped you on your own beat. Here's my mixtape. Like, that was a fucking mixtape. Like, 50 Cent was the king of mixtapes. Like, other people's shit. Like, yo, I remember having this conversation with my brother. Shout out to Chris Leo Den, who actually just dropped an album. So that might be the fucking big thing about 2019. Let me fucking give him a quick shout out. What's the album called? Don't Mention It. Well, I just did. So the album was called Don't Mention It. But dude, like 50 would drop a fucking mixtape, destroy a beat with him and Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo, and you would forget who the original artist was on that beat. Like, like that was a mixtape.
They were the kings to that.
The kings, bro. Like that DJ Who Kid era. Like that was, oh my god, that was like you were fucking beating up whoever you could to get a hands on one of those fucking mixtapes. Dude, side note, this is I brought this up on my podcast, but I feel like it's only right I bring it up now because we just got into the 50 Cent G Unit thing. My mom threw me an 18th birthday party when I lived in India. And it just so happened that Who Kid was on a tour of India through VH1 and was at the same club. And then I had like a table service, so we were like right here. And I knew he was gonna be there, so I brought the fucking CD, like the CD cover, and he signed it. I still have that shit like a fucking like in my bedroom in India. Like,
God damn, that's so random.
So random, bro. Like so random. When I pulled it out and I was like this, he's like, how the fuck do you have this?
I'm sure he would have never expected that way out.
Hell no. He's like, yo, hopefully know a couple songs and keep it moving. He's like, bro, how do I have this kid from the Bronx ask me for an autograph? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Dude, so I'm gonna say, dude, like, I feel like 2019 is stacking up all right. Like, I'm not as disappointed as you. I think the biggest disappointment is honestly, the biggest trend in the last 2 years, bro, is how many fucking great artists we're losing. Shout out to XXX, Mac Miller. We fucking lost Nipsey Hussle on April 1st. I thought it was a fucking joke, and it fucking happened. So I think that's like the biggest fucking thing that's like is the fucking most disappointing, because there's like, damn, yo, we can't keep fucking losing these people. Like, this shit sucks. But I feel like music-wise, man, it's been all right. Like, we went to Coachella. Like, the hip-hop acts were fucking slapping. Like, they were promoting. They were putting out good shit. I agree with you. I don't think the level of quality coming out is as good as last year. I mean, we just had like what's August 5th? I mean, a year ago, a couple days ago, we had YG come out, Mac Miller come out, Travis Scott all come out with fucking great albums on the fucking same day. Yeah. Like, we were spoiled. But I don't know, man. I think 2019, as of right now, if things just stay the same, is gonna go down as an okay year in hip hop. I don't think it's gonna be a disappointment completely. I remember it's only August, so we still have 5.5 months left of guys who can still come out with shit. I think, like to your point, like with the whole like Rich the Kid, his album dropped at a certain time frame, but like yo, Meek Mill's album almost dropped at the end as well, so I kind of like leaned into 2019, but not completely. Yeah. Again, I think the fucking Dreamville album, Revenge was it? Revenge of the
Dreamers something.
Yeah, of the Dreamers 3. I think that's a fucking great album. I think Big Sean's working on something that's gonna be fucking great. So what I don't like, though, I know we wanted to talk about this before we signed off. I think a lot of artists are taking advantage of this the music, the way that, again, the industry has been taking advantage of these artists forever, so I get it. But I think it's to the detriment of us, which is why I think you feel the way you do sometimes about the music coming out, because these artists are now, before, they will take their time before they release a project, right? And I feel like now, it's like, well, I can just drop this shit tomorrow on iTunes, and you're going to fucking listen to it, and I'm going to get paid. And if I drop fucking 45 songs, you're going to listen to it, and I'm going to get paid. So that's why I think the level at times is deteriorating, because we're just getting absolute garbage that in the old way of things they probably would never put out, but because the way the system is set up right now, it's to their advantage to constantly just be putting out shit, literally shit, like garbage. Just like, here, take it, and if you don't like it, it was a mixtape. It's finally, you know what I mean? Like, that's their fucking like realization with like the consumer and stuff. But for example, I know Chris Brown just dropped his Indigo album. Let's fucking look that shit up. That was exactly
like 47 tracks,
32 songs, 2 hours and 4 minutes long.
I don't have time for anybody for that kind of stuff.
I listened to that shit for 4 minutes because that song with Drake fucking slaps. But again, I couldn't tell you, bro. I tried to give it a listen to, bro. It's 2 hours, bro. Like, I don't remember the fucking song 30 minutes ago. Like, how like what you were saying about a cohesive album. Like, maybe it is. Like, I can't fucking remember. Like,
see, that's the only time when the radio becomes my friend, is when shit like this gets released. I'm like, I'll let the radio decide what the top 2 tracks are. I don't want to fucking sift through 4 hours of content to figure that out. I mean, I appreciate it, but like, what if it's just throwaway tracks that they're pushing out to get streams, and then they achieve these crazy ass milestones that aren't even apples to apples comparisons?
Bro,
like,
all these artists
outselling Michael Jackson and shit.
Streams.
I'm like, yo, if we went 30 years back and you released this shit, you're not coming close to Michael Jackson or whoever it is.
No money. Like, you're
nothing.
Bro, I love it. I love some of these artists, bro. I love Nav. But you were fucking walking around with plaques that would not have existed 10 years ago.
And half the streams are probably accidental. Like, it counts when you choose the genre and you're just like, yo, throw on some party shit, and then all these tracks get played.
Right.
So it's not even like people are intentionally listening to half this shit. So it's crazy.
It's crazy, bro. But yeah, how do you feel about Chris Brown, man? Because I feel like that's a funny topic, though. He just dropped that video with Drake. The shit was hilarious. I didn't expect what the fuck I saw, but it was kind of funny. But like, how do you feel about Chris Brown, bro? Like, how do you feel about him still being around? Do you feel like the industry has fully forgiven him for that shit with Rihanna? Like, how do you feel about him? Because, like, again, that's probably crazy. Like, when all this shit went down with him, if we're like going in reverse, we probably would never have thought he would be relevant in 2019, but I feel like he kind of is. So
yeah, I mean, I've always been a fan of him since he dropped that Run It track. He's one of the few artists where I feel like the quality of music has never basically gone down. He's always like kept up with the trends and like been able to keep his same energy, and I think his talent is just so up there that it's hard for people to not forgive him and continue to support him. But at the same time, didn't Rihanna forgive him, like, publicly too?
I don't know. I don't think
not that it's up to her, but like, I don't know. It's tough when you think about these artists and like what they've done and whether or not you want to forgive them. I mean, he did his time, and I'm sure for people that are closer to domestic abuse, you know, for them it's a touchy subject, so it's not something they even want to like invest the time in trying to forgive or discuss. But at the same time, I mean, people do make stupid mistakes, and we weren't there to understand what took place, you know, who hit who instigated what, who did what. And I mean, you should never put your hands on a woman, but at the same time, he did get punished as he should have, and I think he's remorseful, or at least it seems so. And I just like the music, so I personally continue to listen to his music. But I know some people have been super vocal about just not liking his music at all, like regardless, just because of what he had done. So it's difficult for me. I just basically in public won't vocally be too vocal about my support, because I don't want to get into a whole debate about who's right, who's wrong, and all that.
It's like politics, bro. It's like, yo, you have your opinion, just fucking ride with it. It's all good. That's true. I mean, again, I was always indifferent. I was never a massive Chris Brown fan, period. Like, there was a couple of songs that slapped, like Run It, Joel Santana, that fucking track, fire. But yeah, I mean, like, I was always indifferent, bro. Like, I try to remove the artist from the person, right? Like the person make mistakes. I'm not gonna lie, when that shit about R. Kelly not came out, but like the fucking shit on Lifetime, bro, I was still bumping that shit in my fucking car. Like, like it is what it is, bro. Like
that's like me. I was never the biggest fan of him, so for me it was easy to like. People are like, don't play this shit, blah blah. Like I wasn't playing much of it to begin with, except Best of Both Worlds with Jay-Z. That shit was hard.
Fire, dude. And like the same thing with Michael Jackson. Like this shit's not new, but like. Yeah. Bro, like when I get married, you best believe like probably gonna be a Michael Jackson song in that mix. Like it is what it is. Like, so talking about people becoming white. Segue.
Nice segue.
Yo, what do you think the in 2019 the white rapper? Like, how do you feel? And when I think white rapper, I guess we can't even bring up Logic because he's biracial. Yeah, but kind of white.
It's kind of like the Obama. It's just whatever the world perceives you as, you just automatically become that. It doesn't matter if you're like I could say I'm half fucking Japanese and people don't give a fuck. They're still gonna treat me like I'm black. So like,
right.
In that regard, if that were the case, ultimately the individual has that battle of identifying with one or the other. But I think that's what Logic's career revolves around. But other white rappers, I think their challenge is earning the respect of the hip hop gods, so to speak, or just fan base, period. Because even white kids won't necessarily respect a white rapper if they come off like they're not being genuine about their raps.
Yeah, just be you, man. So again, I know we were driving around LA, you were bumping some G-Eazy, and I was mentioning how like that didn't really like no one was really playing his shit out here in Miami. Like it's like we heard like the hits, but like no one's bumping all 15 tracks. But you were saying he's big out there though, right?
Yeah, he's pretty big. I mean, probably a little bit bigger in the Bay because that's where he's from. But I think he's one of the few rappers that does him, and he never came off as like a culture vulture because, I mean, he doesn't dress like he's a wannabe really. I think he purposely did that. He was like, I'm not gonna be that one white dude who's like rocking fucking, I don't know what wannabes will rock, but let's just say like Supreme and a bunch of like do-rag and like a bunch of Supreme shit on and like gold teeth. Like he just.
I wonder if it's like, so to your point though, I wonder if he's also made his lane for himself because bitches fuck with him because he looks like a fucking model, right? Like that's just a fucking.
That for sure helped him.
And like his songs are catered to females. If you
I went to his. That's a good point because I went to his. It was fucking weird too. I went to his concert, and at the time I wasn't even that big of a fan of him. Some girl I worked with was like, "Yeah, he has his concert coming up. A few of us are going." So me and my boy at the time, who I also work with, decided to go with them. And all the dudes who showed up were wearing fucking leather jackets with slick back hair and shit. I felt like I was in that John Travolta Grease movie or something. It was just weird. But like it was clear that his fan base, at least at that time, was highly skewed towards women. And I don't know. I'm sure that gave him a boost for sure. But I think at this point in time, he has more of the respect of the male fans of hip hop. And I think he generally does have a good flow. I mean, some people think it sounds too similar to like a Drake or people of that caliber, but I think his wordplay and things like that are more impressive than the average rapper in the game currently, at least.
I agree, man. But I think to the point you made earlier about like just on the white rapper subject, as far as just being true to yourself, because I feel like that's what people. Again, it's easy when someone dies and you go back, you're like, damn, no one really appreciated him. But I feel like people did appreciate Mac Miller a lot before he died. Because if you remember, even when Jay-Z got drunk and got on Twitter and he like, oh, I love all my black people. But yo, shout out to Mac Miller too. Like, yo, like even in his own fucking world, like Jay-Z was like, yo, that dude is fucking nice, right? So I think, yo, Mac Miller was just talking about real shit. Like, he was just talking about, like, if he was fucking depressed, he's like, he'll give you the best fucking 10 songs about being depressed. Yeah. If it's about smoking weed, he'll give you the best songs about that. It's about fucking loving a chick, he'll give you the best songs about that. So,
right.
I think the biggest thing for most white rappers is just being true to self. And if you grew up in a fucking shitty situation, then fucking talk about that. But like, don't fucking talk about it if you weren't even close or didn't know anyone near it. Like any of that stuff.
Yeah. And Mac Miller, I feel like he never limited himself musically. It seemed like he could collaborate with anyone and just make a dope track. Like whether it's Anderson, Pac. I think it's Pac, right?
I don't know, bro. He's from LA. You would know more than me.
I'm pretty sure it's Pac, but so many people say Pac that I just end up saying it.
I probably fucked it up too earlier. But yeah, dude, yeah, song with CeeLo, like come on. Like,
CeeLo, Dave East, basically everyone. Schoolboy Q. I think that's why, because he could like vibe with any type of personality. He's just such a positive dude.
Yeah, and that 7-minute song Cinderella with Ty Dolla $ign, that's a fucking classic now. Like, yeah, man.
I just don't understand how it led to his demise, but I mean, that's only between him and his maker. So
yeah, dude. Rest in peace. Rest in peace to Mac Miller. Rest in peace to Nipsey. I guess the overall theme of this podcast as we sign out is just 2019, maybe not as extravagant as we probably assumed going into it, but we've had a couple classics, a few flops, a lot of flops according to my boy here. Yeah, dude. Like, yeah, I think hip hop's still in a good spot though. So, again, with rappers like YBN, Cordae, like, there's some young rappers like you said, Little Skies, Rich the Kid, who's still young, Travis Scott. Like, I don't think he's even 25 yet. Like, yeah, you got a lot of people still out there are putting out quality music. So maybe if it's not at the end of this year, I'm sure by going into 2020, we'll be in a good spot. For sure.
And there's gonna be off years inevitably, but I'm hopeful.
But again, I think that goes back to even my earlier point about like there might be more off years than not with the way that they try to take advantage of the system. You know what I mean? Like, just, hey, I'm gonna put out anything I can to get paid, and then I'm go on tour for that, and then I'm gonna figure out when the right time is to actually put out an album. So
yeah,
that's it's probably to the detriment of the consumer, but I get it, bro. Like, the music industry has been raping these artists for years. Like, I get it. They want to give it right back to them. So, all right, man. Any last words here?
Nah, I think we're good. Episode 3, we'll obviously have some new shit to talk about. But until then, peace.
We are out, man. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, subscribing, listening. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Audio Theory done.